Sure.
So the last 20 minutes are on me, and hopefully this will be very light presentation, not terse as dense as the one before, which have been very interesting. This conference has been up for a very good start today. As I was mentioning at the beginning, this is the number 20 of our quarterly reports. So basically, this is 5 years that the Digital Gold Institute is following the Bitcoin, blockchain, and crypto asset ecosystem. And we have a lot of activities. The joint venture of the Crypto Asset Lab is the main one, and I've been active in the sector since 2014. The roadmap for looking back at the last quarter, the last quarter was even the last quarter of the year, so basically, usually we close the year looking back at the whole year, not just the last quarter. And we will be doing that according to market trends, ecosystem, regulation, and technology. Market trends, well, I think that everybody's aware of, also Wisdom Tree has been talking about that, 155% performance last year of Bitcoin, and basically the last quarter has been contributing 56%. Of course, Bitcoin is up and down, up and down. You can see by quarter is not, of course, it's quite a roller coaster, but if you zoom out and look at periods of 4 years, known in jargon as halving, because they are when Bitcoin goes halves down its supply of Bitcoin, we can see $12, $700, $10,000. What will be this year? Let's say $4,000. Pretty much an impressive performance in the last 16 years, 15 years, there it is. Bitcoin is an asset like no other. I've been claiming that Bitcoin is a new asset class, and people have been arguing about that. It's an asset, or it is an asset class, first off. Well, for at least some time, it has been the only asset of a new asset class. Okay, and at least even today, it's still the most representative. Why it is an asset class like no other? Well, not just for its volatility, which, by the way, is pretty much comparable to the best performing stocks of the last 10 years, Tesla, Amazon, Netflix, and Apple, okay? So nothing to be scared about Bitcoin, but the correlation. Bitcoin has correlation well below 50% with all other asset classes, and so it provides a significant diversification potential. I've just selected 2 asset classes in this Zoom, which are gold and NASDAQ. As you can see, correlation has been 0, it's been negative, it's been positive, is now pretty low. So definitely Bitcoin moves like nothing else. It's different, it's another asset class. It provides diversification in your investment portfolio. Bitcoin has been dominating trading. If we take a look at trading, excluded stablecoin, because you might be aware that stablecoin are basically used for arbitrages, and so it's proper to exclude them. But Bitcoin account for 62% of the trading volume of last year, while Ethereum has been 26%. Everything else, as you can understand, is completely negligible, okay? So the market is basically Bitcoin and Ether, and that's a fact. Even institutional players are finally grasping them, even before the ATF approval. Deutsche Bank, Crédit Agricole, BNP Paribas, this side of the ocean, but basically all the investment bank on the other side of the Atlantic have been paying attention to crypto asset. But the fact that institutional players are basically interested in Bitcoin and Ether is also proved by the listed futures at CME. So in the last month, last December, the volume of futures on Bitcoin and Ether has been surpassing 100 billion. But anyway, in the last quarter, the monthly volume has been on average 80 billion. Of course, Ether, the blue one, is smaller than Bitcoin, but again, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So basically, institutional player, they are interested interested in Bitcoin and Ether, not just futures. The same is true for options. Options are an order of magnitude smaller. In the last month, it has been about more than 3 billion, but basically this has been on average in the last quarter. Why Bitcoin and Ether only? Well, also because performance-wise, most of the crypto assets underperform Bitcoin. Well, of course, this year there has been AVAX, which is overperformed Bitcoin, but every year you will find some kind of alternative, or as they call shitcoin, outperforming Bitcoin. But the truth is that all altcoins have a very high correlation with Bitcoin. So they do provide no further diversification benefit. If you want to introduce 2-3% of crypto allocation in your portfolio, you're basically done. If you introduce Bitcoin or Ether, there is very little reason to introduce something else, at least from the quantitative point of view. Of course, your mileage might vary when it comes to qualitative judgment. Ecosystem, well, let's touch on stablecoin. We will talk more about that tomorrow, but this has been the year of PayPal entering the stablecoin arena, but it's been also the year where Tether has basically confirmed its leadership. Yes, because USD coin has lost ground. This has been, in my opinion, very unfortunate because USDC has lost market shares because of the temporary depegging during the Silicon Valley Bank crisis. USDC was fault of nothing to blame USDC for, but it's transparency. It was known that he had $3 billion with Silicon Valley Bank. Nobody knows what Tether does, and well, a rational market should punish that lack of transparency, but it's not happening. What can I say about the rationality of the markets? Looking forward, when we look at this ecosystem, of course, there have been legal updates and there are worries. There is a little discussion about digital currency group, but that's to be monitored carefully. Last year, we saw the failure of Genesis, a lender belonging to the digital currency group holding. The digital currency group has been controlling CoinDesk until a few months ago, but especially the digital currency group controls Grayscale, the largest trust in Bitcoin, which is going to be converted in one of the ETF. What is worrying about Grayscale? They were not able to provide a proof of reserve when asked last year. Well, I mean, if you invest into an ETF and that ETF is not able to provide a proof of reserve, I will have some concern. Of course, we have been talking even today about Tornado Cash, so mixing on the Ethereum website, on the Ethereum side, and Binance has faced ongoing scrutiny from the US security, so much that after chasing down Sam Bankman-Fried and for the FTX fraud, basically the Department of Justice is taking care of the Changpeng Zhao, one of the richest men in the world, established his wealth on Binance, they were proud for many years to say that Binance had no jurisdiction, okay? They were not incorporated in any country. But you know how it goes with the US. I mean, US, whenever you play with dollars or you're a citizen, they are the sheriff in town. And so basically Binance has been fined, and even his CEO has to plead guilty and is basically now not allowed to go back to the Arab Emirates and is waiting for the sentence in the US. So we'll be curious, if you ask me, to watch what will happen to the richest man on earth. Will he really serve 18 months in jail? We'll see. Okay. Regulation. Well, of course, the Security Exchange Commission and in general also the Department of Justice have been very active in 2023. Not always successful, not in every court, but they have been made clear that crypto entrepreneur cannot go away with fraud and theft, okay? And this is good to know. But Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, made it clear. Actually, he wanted to make it clear. Let's be clear. Bitcoin is an international asset. It's not based on any one currency, and so it can represent an asset that people can play as an alternative. And so 2023 has been the year, basically, of the ETF approval soap opera, okay? For those who does not remember, the first request for a Bitcoin ETF was in 2013 by the Winklevoss brothers. So it took 10 years, more than 10 years to get approved. I know that many of my US friends, they dislike Gary Gensler. I do not. I think that he has a very clear and sharp vision of the crypto market, and basically he had to overturn the position of the former chairman about, not approving the ETF. And so everybody knows since yesterday we have 11 ETF. Europe, you know the European style, we are always lagging behind. We don't need to be at the forefront of things. But last year, market in crypto asset regulation has been approved by the European Union and is going to be enforced next year. So market in crypto asset regulation. So it's a regulated market now. Players have to be registered and, this is going to be regulated in Italy. Again, my US friends are kind of envious, so they say, of the regulatory clarity of Europe. Oh, wow, I will swap any day the regulatory bureaucrats in Europe for the US approach, which is much more lively and engaging, I will say. We will be talking tomorrow about digital euro. What is it? Oh, well, it's supposed to be digital access to central bank currency. And so because of that being inherently more reliable than any kind of private electronic currency or current accounts, debit card, credit cards, basically, if you look at it, it's a kind of competition with debit and credit cards and to a secondary, on a secondary aspect, even with bank deposits. But even if ECB is not being outspoken about that, it is clear about the reduction of dependence on non-European payment network, okay? So it's a geopolitical choice, most of all. It will be distributed through intermediaries, not directly from the ECB, and it's not clear remuneration, cost, interest rate, the possibility of forced withdrawals. We'll see. Technology is not yet defined, but it's surely not going to be blockchain. And do not forget this is still awaiting approval from the European Union, and Germany and France are not that seems like they are not that willing to go ahead. I mean, in Italy it's different, but this is because our central banker, Panetta, has been the major champion of the ECB digital euro, and so of course Italian banks are much more sensitive to the topic. But the ECB has to address various challenges because adoptions and user experience are crucial and are still to be verified. If you ask me, the public does not feel the need for digital cash, not at all. I mean, the Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit cards, they are subpar technological solutions, but they are so well established that it will be hard to remove them. And moreover, privacy is the primary concern for 43% of the participants in the public consultation that has been conducted by ECB in April 2021. Anyway, even if this conference is devoted to crypto asset and central bank digital currencies, the two things seem to have a very small overlap, because digital cash, central bank digital cash, might compete with stable coins, but will definitely have no real impact on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, because those are primarily, they have primarily investment appeal so far. So technology, a couple of slides and we're done. Well, on the Bitcoin side, people might want to talk about ordinals or inscription. Don't waste your time. It's just some thing that is hyped today, and nobody will remember that in 1 year time. Instead, I prefer to point your attention to the mining hash rate that's been growing increasingly, even during 2021, the so-called crypto winter, of course, during 2023. And if you are wondering about this gap, okay, the one in, the only one that you can see on the slide, has been when China has forbidden mining, okay? So basically, mining is reaching an unprecedented computational power. This is oftentimes misunderstood. I mean, we have the most secure network in the world. There is no military or financial network of comparable security. Ethereum, with the Chapelle upgrade, has moved from proof of work to proof of stake. Even more, Shanghai and Chapelle, the so-called crashes of the two recent outfork, have been technically successful at completing the proof of stake transition. But even if the execution has been technically successful, it has been fallen short of market expectations. So basically, Ether has just hit its lowest value compared to Bitcoin in the past 14 months. Again, seems like the market does not care about reputation, in the case of USDC or USDT, does not care about technological achievement. Everything is good, provided it goes up. And, well, we'll see. Anyway, the key takeaways: clear regulation has been instrumental in driving Bitcoin remarkable growth in 2023. Substantial regulatory advancement and the ATF approval are providing clarity, boosting further investor confidence. And Bitcoin, and even Ether to a certain degree, have demonstrated robust technological resilience, and they continue to function securely and efficiently. That's why we're here, and that's why we want to resume discussion tomorrow. Don't miss joining us tomorrow. There will be many exciting topics that haven't been covered today. So see you everybody tomorrow.